Many people assume that dogs only respond to familiar sounds, an excited tone of voice, or the daily routines that repeat over and over. But the truth is far more interesting. According to behavioral science, dogs do not just hear sounds instinctively. They are also able to connect certain specific words with actions, outcomes, emotions, and the experiences that follow those words. That means there are words you say every day that may seem completely ordinary to you, but carry real meaning in your dog's world. Dogs may not understand language the way humans do, and they do not process words through grammar or logic in the same way we do, but they are extremely good at remembering sound cues that are tied to important events. Over time, certain words become like switches that trigger anticipation, excitement, attention, comfort, or even a strong sense of happiness in a dog's brain. And what surprises many people is that there are some words dogs understand much more clearly than we realize. One of the most familiar examples, and one of the words that makes countless dogs react instantly, is any word connected to going outside for a walk. The moment they hear words like walk or outside, or sometimes even something that sounds close to those words, many dogs spring up immediately, perk up their ears, stare at their owner, and wag their tails nonstop. That is not random excitement. From a scientific perspective, dogs learn very quickly when a word is linked to a high-value reward. For a dog, a walk is not just exercise. It is exploration, a chance to smell hundreds of new pieces of information in the environment, follow scents, mark territory, release energy, and most importantly, spend time alongside the person they are bonded to. That is why the moment they hear that word, the anticipation system in their brain is almost instantly activated. They do not need to understand the definition of a walk the way humans do. What they understand very clearly is the sequence of events that usually follows that sound. Another word dogs tend to understand very well is any word related to food, such as eat, dinner, treat, or the specific name of a favorite snack. Many dogs will lift their heads immediately, even if they were resting just moments before. Some run straight into the kitchen, some lick their lips, some spin in circles, and some stare at their owner with hopeful intensity, as if they just need one more confirmation before the joy fully kicks in. This happens because food is one of the strongest rewards in a dog's life. When a word consistently appears right before a pleasant experience like eating, a dog's brain quickly forms a durable connection between the sound and the outcome. Over time, simply hearing the word is enough to create excitement before the food even appears. But there is something deeper happening too. Words related to meals can also give dogs a sense of stability. Dogs living with humans rely heavily on routines and repeated daily patterns. Mealtime is not just about getting calories. It is also a sign that everything is happening the way it normally does, that the environment is still safe, familiar, and reliable. So when dogs hear words like eat or dinner, they are not only thinking about food, they are also responding to certainty and order in their world. One of the most important words a dog truly understands is its own name. Many studies and everyday observations suggest that dogs can distinguish their names from other words, especially when that name is repeated often in situations directly involving them. When you call your dog's name, the usual response is that they turn their head, angle their ears toward you, change their expression, move closer, or at the very least show clear signs that they know that sound is meant for them. This is fascinating because it suggests dogs are not just reacting to a familiar sound, they are learning that a specific sound pattern is connected to themselves. They may not understand identity in the same abstract way humans do, but they do understand that when that sound is spoken, their owner wants their attention, interaction, or response. What makes this even more interesting is that the emotion attached to the name matters too. If a dog usually hears its name in a warm, affectionate, cheerful voice, it will associate that name with something positive. On the other hand, If its name mostly comes up when it is being scolded or interrupted, its response can shift. In a dog's world, its name is not just a label. It is also an emotional signal. Another word many dogs understand, even if in a simpler way, is the word no. This is a familiar word for most dog owners, but it is also one of the easiest to misuse. Dogs do not understand no as a moral concept. They do not analyze it as a lesson about right and wrong. What they learn is that it is a cue to stop, a cue that marks a limit, or a signal that the current behavior is not going to lead to a good outcome. When no is used consistently, at the right moment, and in a clear context, dogs gradually learn that they need to stop a specific behavior, whether that means chewing something, jumping on people, bolting through a door, or pulling on the leash. However, if the word is used too often, repeated in many different situations, sometimes in a serious tone and other times playfully, and without a clear result, dogs can become confused. Modern training science shows that dogs learn best when cues are clear and outcomes are consistent. So when a dog truly understands the word no, that understanding does not come only from the word itself. It also comes from the way the owner has built meaning around it over time. In a dog's mind, no is not a lecture. It is a boundary made of sound. Another extremely important word is come. This is one of the clearest examples of how language, learning, and trust all work together. When a dog truly understands the cue come, it means the dog has learned that moving toward its owner is the right and rewarding thing to do. For many dogs, this word is not just a command. It is also an invitation back to safety. Building a strong response to this cue takes more than repetition. It also requires consistently pairing the word with positive results, such as praise, treats, affection, or simply the feeling of being welcomed. If someone only calls their dog back when it is time to end the fun, take a bath, trim nails, or do something the dog dislikes, the value of that word can drop very quickly. But if come is regularly linked with positive experiences, dogs will understand it and respond to it more reliably over time. When a dog hears you call and runs back right away, that does not just mean it recognizes the word. It also means the relationship between the two of you is strong enough that the dog trusts returning to you is the right choice. Finally, there is a group of words many people assume dogs cannot possibly understand, but that actually carry a great deal of meaning. Praise words like good, good boy, or good girl. Dogs may not understand the abstract concept of being good the way humans do, but they absolutely can learn that these sounds are consistently tied to something positive. When you say these words with a gentle tone, a happy expression, and perhaps with petting or a reward, your dog's brain begins to register them as signals of approval. Over time, praise becomes a very powerful form of social reward. For many dogs, being warmly recognized by their owner can be just as valuable as food. Some research on how dogs process language also suggests that they are not responding only to tone of voice. They can also distinguish between familiar words and meaningless sounds, especially when those familiar words are repeated often in daily life. That means when you say, good boy or good girl, your dog is not just sensing that your voice sounds happy. It may also be learning that those words specifically signal that it has done something you wanted. When you look at all of this together, you begin to realize that your dog may not understand every sentence you say, but the world of language is far from empty for them. In a dog's world, certain words carry deep meaning. They may signal joy, like walk. They may promise certainty, like dinner. They may create personal recognition through the dog's name. They may establish limits through no. They may build trust through come. Or they may offer warm approval through praise like, good boy. These words are not just sounds. They are bridges between you and your dog. They carry experience, emotion, repetition, and the relationship you have built day by day. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all is that dogs do not need to understand language the way humans do in order to listen deeply. Just a few familiar words, spoken with consistency and genuine feeling, can mean far more to your dog than most people ever imagine. So, the next time you say a familiar word and your dog reacts immediately, do not assume it is just a simple reflex. There is a very good chance you are witnessing something much more special. Your dog truly understands you in its own way.